36. Okay, so one more. But anyway, we can start, and whoever that one person who is not who have not yet logged in, he can just catch up with us. All right. So I hope you're doing fine. I hope the 1 week of rest was enough for you to recharge. Did you? Were you able to rest? Ba't di kayo sumasagot?
Yes, Doc.
Oo.
Yes, Doc.
Sana na-booster na rin kayo during that time. No? Take advantage of the uh, free time, so to speak. Alright, nandiyan na siya. Kumpleto na kayo, 36. Okay? So last week we had a brief orientation. I walk you through the different roles of a doctor. The five-star roles, which are very important for you to be able to somehow respond to all the needs of your patients. No? You are not just a healthcare provider. You are supposed to update yourself, do some research, apply EBM for you to decide on what is best for your patient. You are expected to collaborate as a manager. You are expected to mobilize people, not necessarily a whole community, but even for a family that you are taking care of. You can mobilize them also. You are expected to be a leader. Okay. If there are any community health problems that affects your patient, you must be an active advocate in the community. So those are the five-star rules as prescribed by the World Health Organization. Now, for you to be trained as a primary care provider, okay, you need to have a good concept of primary care. Okay, so we discussed what primary care is all about and the divisions of primary care that can deliver the type of care that it needs. So it can be a general internal medicine, gen peds, or a family medicine. Among those three, the prototype of general practice, okay, is the family medicine specialty. Okay. So if you want to be a good primary care provider, if you want to be a competent generalist that can address concerns of patients and differentiated cases across all ages and regardless of gender, then that would be FM because it's the prototype of general practice. That's why in preparation for the universal health care, our GPs, our MHOs, our district hospitalists in the district hospital and even in the provincial level, they need to be trained in primary care. And the specialty that was tasked by the DOH to train them is our specialty. Okay, so that they can take certification as primary care providers. All these are in preparation for the universal health care. Okay, but even without the universal health care, I think you need to be aware of our healthcare system and where primary care providers are best suited to work. Okay, now we go now to the first module for the semester, and that is all about understanding the family. Okay. In the 80s, the United Nations started to look at the role of family in development, may it be economic or social development. But it was only in 1993, uh, in the General Assembly, where it was decided upon by a resolution that every 15th of May should be observed as the International Day of Families. For them, it would provide an opportunity to promote awareness of issues relating to families and to increase the knowledge of the social, economic, and demographic processes affecting families. Because United Nations believe, together with its member countries, they believe that good health and well-being starts in families. So apart from marking May 15 as International Day of Families, on September 25, 2015, all the 193 member states of the United Nations unanimously adopted the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals is up to the year 2030. It is a set of 17 goals aiming to eliminate poverty, discrimination, abuse, discrimination and preventable deaths, address environmental destruction, and usher in an era of development for all people everywhere. And they emphasize that families and family-oriented policies and programs are vital for the achievement of many of these goals. In their poster, they have emphasized that to be effective, poverty reduction programs should focus on families and family dynamics. Okay? Our country have responded to that call. Okay? And in our family code, you have these different articles that put special attention to families. In Article 2, Section 12, the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as a basic autonomous social institution. Further, in Article 15, it says that it recognizes the Filipino family as the foundation of the nation, and it shall strengthen its solidarity and actively promote its total development. Okay? So total development would mean that the state shall adopt an integrated and comprehensive approach to health development, which shall endeavor to make essential goods, health, and other social services available to all people at affordable cost. Okay? So these are enough documents to emphasize to you, to make you aware how family is very important in the maintenance of health and in preventing disease. And so therefore, it's now important for us to understand the family. So we will start off with the topic, family as a unit of care. So these are the objectives for today's discussion. Discuss the concept of family-oriented medical care. Discuss the basic premises of family-oriented medical care. Identify the different types of families, discuss its characteristics, functions, and social class patterns, conceptualize what is a Filipino family, and try to identify the common characteristics and value orientation that are true to all Filipino families. So the first thing in the agenda is the family-oriented primary care. So when you talk of family-oriented primary care, it is actually an approach or way of thinking that a physician can bring to every patient encounter even without accompanying family members. Okay? So this approach involves thinking about a symptom or problem in the context of the whole person and the person's significant others. It means that planned and purposeful family participation in healthcare improves healthcare for the patient, family, and the physician. Alright, so it's not literal that when you talk of being family-oriented primary care physician, it does not mean that every time that there's a patient consult, the family should be there. No, it's not literally that way. It's only an approach of thinking that when you see a patient in front of you in the clinic, okay, the things that he feels, the things that he verbalizes to you, you have to view them in the context of the totality of that person, and that would include the significant others with whom your patient lives, and that is the family. Okay? Titingnan mo yung background nung contexto, the context of the symptoms per se. Okay? That's being family-oriented. Okay? Now, there are instances wherein you really need the family to be with the patient. Go. That's fine. And in the clinic, you don't even have to ask for them. Many of the times, most of the times, the patient is accompanied by another person. And that another person is more often than not a family member. Okay? So what are the basic premises of family-oriented primary care? So this comes from the book of Susan H. McDaniel. Okay, so but before we proceed, kindly look at these two cases and try to think about it. What are the impressions that you have in mind when you read these cases? Okay, our first case, Mr. Balmes, 55-year-old employee, presently confined to a wheelchair because of right-sided hemiparesis. He was diagnosed with hypertension and diabetes but was not adherent to medications and supportive treatment. Although very conscious with his work, he is not so concerned with his health until he had a stroke. He feels depressed and he has become unproductive. Alright, kindly share me your thoughts or your impressions about this case. Can I call on Nohara Jason? What
Yes,
are
Doc.
yes, what are your impressions about this case?
Uh, uh, ano lang siya, Doc.
Mm.
Parang walang nag-aalaga sa kanya. Parang he's just surviving alone.
Okay. Sige. So, if that is the case, how would it affect his health?
Since no one is supporting him, Doc, parang he take every things that happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
Parang since no one supporting him, parang mas lalo siyang madadown po. Parang ganun. So, more depressed and unproductive po.
So, is depression a health issue?
Yes po, Doc.
Yes. Would depression aggravate his condition? The condition of having a stroke?
Yes po, Doc. Since he will not comply that, parang hindi po siya magko-comply masyado doon sa mga medications niya po.
Mm-hmm. Probably he may not have the willpower to undergo rehabilitation so that he can probably improve his function. So if that is the case, if you're the attending physician, what would be your difficulty in dealing with this case? Hmm. Nohara.
If
Okay.
I if
Hmm.
if I'm the doctor of the patient,
Yes.
I would treat first his depression para makatulong before going to yung pagiging stroke niya and hypertension, kasi without support, patuloy na mauulit lang yung sickness niya po, parang ganun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good insight. Can I call on Mara Ayesha? He would have to he no Jason would like to address the mental health. Okay, kasi if you are not able to address the mental health, the patient would continue to be non-adherent in his that is his assessment. Now, would that be easy to do? What would be difficult for you as a doctor in attending to this type of patient?
For me po, Doc, kapag yung patient po is depressed, mahirap po siya kasi kapag depressed ka, may hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
So, parang kailangan mo ng patience po talaga for this patient.
Okay. Tiyaga. What probable skills should you have so that you can help the patient get out of depression?
Compassion po, pati understanding po talaga. And wag mag-give up sa patient po.
So that's the attitude that you should adapt. But what skill should you have? Are you going to refer your patient to psychiatrist, or as a primary care physician, would you be able to help the patient yourself?
Yes po. For me po, i-refer ko po siya sa psychiatrist kasi sila po yung mas magaling doon kung paano i-handle yung patient po.
Paano kung walang psychiatrist? At wala
Psychologist.
at wala ring perang pasyente mo pang psychiatrist, what will be your role as the primary care provider? Mm.
As a doctor po, gagawa po ako ng plan po for the patient po
Okay.
to address yung mental health niya po.
Mental health. Okay. So, this case is quite difficult because in the first place, you have a non-adherent patient. Marami tayong ganyang klaseng pasyente, no? Talagang mapagalitan mo na't lahat, ang tigas pa rin ng ulo, no? Kasi any complications of a particular disease spells failure on your part as a primary care provider. That's why kung minsan nakaka-frustrate pagka ang pasyente non-adherent to treatment. Okay? But you cannot argue with them. You cannot, hindi ka pwedeng magalit kasi the more that you would turn them off. So you need those attitude that was mentioned by Ayesha. But I was harping on the skills kasi it is a fact in our Philippine society that our patients are not fond of going to psychiatrists. Okay? Secondly, psychiatric consult is not funded by insurance. It's excluded in any type of insurance, even for PhilHealth. Third, there is social stigma attached to it. Kaya more often than not, these mental health cases would really be seen in the primary care clinic where you are working as the primary care provider. May you be an internist or you may be an FM or a GP for that matter. Sa clinic mo yan makikita. Kaya whether you like it or not, you have to develop the skills in primary care counseling. Okay? You need to learn the skill of listening to your patient. Otherwise, it would be a never-ending non-adherence until your patient would have another stroke. Okay? So, good points. Can I hear from Acosta Grammy? Let's take a look at the second case now. Tingnan natin. Rudy, 30 years old, frequent alcohol drinker. When he drinks, Rosa, his wife, criticizes him. Okay, and therefore there would be a fight. Junior, their son, unable to deal with the fighting, leaves home and stays in friend's house for the night. Jay, the youngest, becomes anxious and develops asthma attack. Once that happens, Rosa shifts her focus to Jay and blames Rudy for the attack. Rudy then leaves home temporarily, then the next day, when he comes home, he drinks again. Okay? So that's the cycle for this particular case. Okay? Any thoughts on this?
Doc, na-addict po yung husband sa alcohol.
Addict.
Addicted po. So, family counseling po.
Okay. So, how does this behavior affect the health of the family? How does it affect the health of the family?
Rehab po, Doc, si husband.
No. How does his drinking affect the health of the family? Yes, Navarro?
Hi, Doc.
Yeah.
Since dito po sa case na to, makikita natin na yung individual members ng family nakaka-affect po sa family, sa health ng family as a whole. So for example po, yung father, si Rudy, may vice po siya, may isa siyang alcohol drinker. Dahil po doon, nag-create ng aways within the family. So as a result po, yung isang anak niya, si Jay, na-affect po yung health and he develops asthma attack po.
Mhm. So yung family problems contributes to the medical problem of one family member, no? And does this help the asthma attack? Does this help them?
No po.
Mhm.
Kasi po, hindi po na-resolve yung problem, which is yung drinking. Nag-add pa po na another problem, which is nagkasakit pa po yung isa niyang anak.
Okay. So this is a kind of uh, case that clearly you cannot do without addressing the family concerns kasi tied up yung behavioral problem dun sa medical problem. And you know very well that asthma is triggered by stress. In the same manner here, kahit na hindi nagkaroon ng depression tong ating stroke patient, the fact that he was non-adherent is already a problem. Diba? Saan nanggagaling yung non-adherence niya? Would the family help address the non-adherent problem? So, hindi nyo nabanggit kung yung family makakatulong. Although it was recognized by Jason kanina, seemingly walang support. So, kung walang family support, ang pasyente mo would continue to deteriorate. So, if you are able to recognize that in the management of your patient, you should also acknowledge the fact that it's already sa family, you need the family to help you address the concerns of your patient. So, in both cases, it's clear that you need to mobilize family support. And it's not easy to do that. You need to understand the family as a whole. Okay? So that leads us now to premise number 1. The number 1 premise of a family-oriented primary care is a biopsychosocial system approach. Wherein the person having a disease, okay, you need to understand in every level the biological factors that contribute to the disease. However, you need to understand the context of that person having the disease. Okay? You need to understand his relationship to others, especially you as the doctor, the family, the wider social setting like the community, all right? You need to factor all those in this particular in each level of the system, how they affect in the development of the disease or in the development of symptoms. It cannot be that you only treat what is happening here without addressing what is happening above. Okay? Because the person is not just a body, he is a human being with all this system in place. So you need to address all the changes that is happening in each of this level and try to understand how they are interacting, contributing to the disease of this particular index patient. Okay? So the bio should be addressed, yes, but you need to factor in the psychosocial dimension of the disease in order to holistically address the problem of your patient, which may not just be medical, there can be others affecting his health. Okay? But here in our specialty, we went beyond being family-oriented. Remember, the system does not end with the family. It goes higher to the community, to the subculture, to the society as a whole, and even the biosphere. Okay? We cannot address the others already, but in our interaction with our patient, we can go beyond the family. We can consider the community where they live, because everything that happens in the community would affect the patient. And so what we are doing in our specialty and what the clerks are doing in the community rotation is a patient-centered, family-focused, community-oriented approach in primary care. Ganon din naman yung family-oriented primary care, except that we relabel it to put more emphasis on the integration of the patient, family, and community. So we call it the PFC matrix. And this is how you're going to analyze your family case at the end of the semester. Okay? There are issues that would mainly concern the patient, there are issues that would mainly affect the family, and there are issues that are inherent in the community. So all those factors, all those issues can be interrelated, all right, bringing about ill health or good health to the index patient and his or her family. Okay? So the second premise why we need to understand family and why we need to adopt a primary oriented approach, no, is the fact that the primary focus should be the patient in the context of the family. Okay? Why? Because the family is the primary source of many health beliefs and behaviors. Nako po. You are a product of your family, your values, right? Your attitudes. What whoever you are right now is a product of your family. In the same manner, our index patients have their own families. So they are a product of those families. So if you understand the family, you would also understand the patient and vice versa. Okay? Second, very critical, families are valuable resource and source of support for the management of illness. You need to look at the families as your ally. Okay? Source of support can be emotional, can be physical, or it can be financial as well. Mahirap pag walang family. You will end up doing everything for your patient. And sometimes you'll get frustrated because you know you can do something and yet you cannot do it. Because somebody has to ally with you, has to be with you in implementing the plan. Okay? Now, somatic symptoms can serve an adaptive function within the family and be maintained by family patterns. An example of this is the second case. Somatic symptoms like asthma, which is stress related, okay, can serve an adaptive function. If you notice, whenever there is a fight, the asthma attack would occur. And once there's asthma attack, the focus or the attention of the wife shifts to the child. All right? So for a while, there is peace in the house. Okay, the attention shifted to the index patient. The husband would leave the house for a while, so there is peace, there is silence. Okay? It serves an adaptive function. So he would be okay until the fight ensues again. So he would have attacks again. Okay? So sometimes such kind of symptoms, okay, are very much somehow adaptive, serves an adaptive function for the family. So if you are going to have your training, for example, in some tertiary hospitals, asthma clinic, part of asthma management is counseling. Once they identified familial factors that contributes to the attacks, they refer the patient. They refer the patient for family meeting, for family counseling, or even for family therapy. Okay? So we work hand in hand with asthma clinic as far as the family component is concerned. So if it's not too too difficult family issues, that can be handled by primary care providers as far as family medicine is concerned, because that's part of our training to do primary care counseling for the family. Okay, but if in our assessment it is too entrenched, too difficult, then after the assessment, we then refer to psych if they can do the family therapy, because not all psychiatrists can do family therapy. All right. So the third premise is this: patient, family, and physician are partners in healthcare. Okay. So what they are proposing and what we are adhering to in our practice is a therapeutic triangle: patient, family, and the physician. This triangular perspective involves the physician, patient, and family working together in medical care partnership. Okay? Together they define what needs to be done. Okay? These include identifying symptoms, establishing a treatment plan, and clarifying responsibilities. So in other words, if you have this type of perspective, okay, as a family-oriented physician, you mobilize the patient's natural support system to enhance health and well-being. Okay? You see the family as your ally in order to maximize patients' resources, in order to mobilize natural support system for the best interests of the patient and for their best interest as well. Because if they are able to work together, things would be a little lighter. Okay? Things would be bearable. And it would be easy enough to stay healthy that way. Okay? Premise 4 is the emphasis is on the physician should see himself as a part of rather than apart from the treatment system. What does that mean? Biopsychosocially oriented physicians takes cognizance of the fact that physicians' behavior may also influence patients' behavior and turn to be influenced by the patient as well. Okay? Now, you are interacting with your patient. Whether you like it or not, you are part of the treatment environment. Your behavior, your demeanor, your attitude, how you talk, the words that comes out of your mouth, all those things can negatively or positively affect your patient. You have to remember that. Okay? That's why I hope in the future when you become doctors or even in your clerkship and internship, you be a source of support or inspiration or encouragement to your patient rather than a source of stress or a source of burden. Because some doctors really can be a burden to the patient simply because of how they behave, simply because of how they project themselves to the patient, simply on how they talk, okay? They can be a source of stress. So sana you would be careful with how you act, especially in front of your patient. Hopefully, you would also be very much aware of how you talk and the message that comes out of your mouth. Okay? Because all those can affect your patient. Remember, when you're dealing with your patient and there is the family there, it's not only the patient that you affect, you also affect the rest of the family members. Ano yan eh, magkakadikit yan eh. Okay? Pag sumama ang loob ng pasyente, sama rin ang loob ng family members sa'yo. So you have to be careful. Okay? So you cannot extricate yourself from the system. You are part of it. The moment you are interacting with your patient, you are already part of the environment. Now, since it's very important to have that understanding of the family, okay, the role of the family, what you can do to mobilize the family, that we ourselves is part of the system, okay, we need to have the knowledge and we also need to have the skills in dealing with families. Now, Doherty and Beard propose the levels of family intervention. In most instances, many doctors would just operate on level 1. And minimal involvement would somehow is a one-way communication. It's just the doctor talking to the patient when he wants it, when it's needed. Okay? The usual clinic consult is like this. Alright? Fine if nothing much in terms of diagnosis, prognosis, or signs and symptoms, nothing much. Okay lang yan. But, if you talk of acute illness, if you talk of chronic illness, if you talk of problematic situations, it cannot just be a one-way communication. You should be at least in level 2. And in level 2, you communicate information clearly to your patient and families. You elicit questions and areas of concern, okay? And you generate mutually agreed upon action plans. So good, no? Pero the involvement really is more on the biomedical. Okay? Now, what we want is level 3. That apart from the biomedical concerns, you are able to provide emotional support to your patient. Ano yung emotional support? Meaning, you are able to deal with with what the patient feels and the necessary support that he needs. In feelings in level 3, you are able to demonstrate emphatic listening and elicit expression of feelings and concerns from patients and families. Okay? So yung level 2 mo is all about biomedical concerns. But when you try to address how the patient feels, how they are affected by the disease, how are they coping with the disease, okay? You are actually applying now level 3. Okay? Now, for level 4, this is systematic assessment and planned intervention. In level 4, we assess the relationship between the illness problem, and the family dynamics. How do we assess? We use the tools in family assessment, which you would learn on the 3rd week of this semester. Okay? Those are validated tools that we use to specifically get information that would help us assess family functions, family dynamics. Okay? And once that's done and we come up with an assessment, and from there we intervene. Okay? Now, it says here, if the problem is entrenched or family counseling is not effective, then you make a referral. Okay? Now, what can we do for you as students? We do not expect you to be at level 4. Hanggang dito lang sa level 3. Marunong kang makinig, marunong kang makipag-usap, marunong kang mag-identify ng problema, okay na yan. However, in level 4, we would allow you to experience this when you become clerks in your 4th year. Because you will be assigned specific families that have chronic illness. Some may have terminal illness, no, among the index patient. And you have 1 week to do home visitations. So we would actually oblige you to use the different tools in order to assess family function and try to identify if there are psychosocial problems that needs to be addressed. Okay? That's for level 4. So for level 4, as far as students are concerned, it's only more on identification. We do not expect you to intervene. Identify and then refer your patient. Now, level 5 is for psychotherapies, for family therapies. It's not really for us. What we do is just to identify the psychosocial problem, identify problems in the family dynamics, and properly refer the patient if there is a need to. Okay? Kung hindi naman ganun ka-complicated yung problem, then as a primary care provider, all right, for me as a family medicine practitioner, I do intervene at level 4. Okay? So that's part of our training. But for students, at least up to level 3. Dapat may tatak FEU kayo pag graduate. No? Dapat may kakaiba naman sa inyo pag graduate kayo. You are not just an ordinary doctor. You are a doctor who listens. Okay? A doctor who have the patience and the compassion to listen to the patients. So that's the skills needed for families. Okay? The level of intervention that we would like to give to our dear patients and their families. You would have more of these in your 2nd year. In your 2nd year, kasi for your 1st year, all your active listening skills is individual in approach. Aabot kayo dito sa level 3. Okay? Kaya lang individual. But in your 2nd year, you will be doing family interventions. Okay? Level 3, but this time, family. That's for your 2nd year. Okay, so I hope everything is clear for family-oriented primary care. the premises that it has, and the skills in family involvement that we need to develop ourselves. Okay? The next thing now is to look at the concept of a family. Ano ba yung family? How do we know that we are dealing with a family? Okay, so there are several definitions. There is no standard definition of a family because it is very much affected or somehow related to or dependent upon the dito, the discipline that use the term. So from a sociological viewpoint, family is defined as enduring social form in which a person is incorporated. Okay? From a biologic viewpoint, it is accepted to be the genetic transmission unit. And from a psychological viewpoint, it is defined as the matrix of personality development and the most intimate emotional unit of society. Okay. So it's just nice to know to look at these viewpoints, but for our purposes as doctors, we can adopt the UN definition of family. It's important to have this definition because in preventive medicine, in health systems management in your third year, you would be using the same definition of a family, especially if you're doing uh, community surveys. Okay, so what is a family? From the UN definition, the family is defined as those members of the household. Ibig sabihin, group of people belonging in one household who are related by to a specified degree, blood, adoption, or marriage. So the family is defined as those members of the household who are related to a specified degree through blood, adoption, or marriage. So if you are going to dissect this definition, there are actually 3 requirements for you to say that you are dealing with a family. First, a group of people living in one household. Second, they are related by blood or by marriage or by adoption. Okay? But you would realize later on, not all families would fit into this definition. So in those instances, the better or the more appropriate definition is a systems definition, which I would discuss with you on the last week of the first grading period. Suffice it to say that for now, this is how we are going to define a family. Now, what are the characteristics of a family? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are self-explanatory. Okay? We all belong to a family. And I think we would all agree that it implies a lifelong involvement. It's not just being a member of a family. It's more of what? When you talk of involvement, engagement, you are not a passive member of a family. You are an active member. We have duties, responsibilities, we have commitment in family membership. Okay? We are somehow bonded together because of this affection. Okay, family relationships are primarily affection in nature. What binds us is a strong emotional ties. Okay? And because of that, family endures through time. Through thick and thin. Right? Ano ba yun sa pagkakinakasal ka? In ano nga ba yun? In death, in health and in death. Okay, family endures through time. And it helps apart from, relationship, family members have shared attributes. Yan, shared attributes, shared values. Okay. Kaya more or less yung attitude pare-pare. Almost, typically, you would say, pag ganitong pamilya, ganyan sila. Sometimes you can say it that way. Okay, so there would be some form of similarities. So these are the characteristics of a family. Now, the next thing is, if you are dealing with a family, you need to know the areas of function more than anything else. Because if you are presented with a particular disease and you see that there is something wrong that brought about the disease, okay, you need to look at what areas of function was missing or lacking. if you identify that, then you know what to address in order to address the medical problem. First is the biologic. Okay, when you talk of biologic function, it's the family's ability, competence, okay, for reproduction, child rearing, nurturance, and nutrition, health maintenance, recreation, ability to provide for this. Of course, it's so difficult to provide for this if there is problem in the economics. Economics is provision of adequate financial resources, resource allocation, and financial security for the family. All right. Very much tied up also to finances is this is not biologic, this is educational. These are teaching skills, attitudes, and skills relating to other function. Psychologic function is promotion of natural development of personalities, offering optimum psychological protection, and promotion of ability to form relationship with people in the family circle. And sociocultural function pertains to the socialization of children and promotion of status and legitimacy. So these are the different functions of the family. So how would it matter in our practice? How can we apply this in our practice? So let's take a look at this particular case. Can I call on Ang Beatrice?
Yes po.
So what is your impression of these three children?
Parang these three children po live in a parang galing po sila sa low income household po.
Okay, low income. What else? Can you somehow grossly identify medical problem?
Possibly lack of nutrition, malnourished.
Okay. Ano yung lack of nutrition mo? Malnutrition ba to?
Opo.
Okay. So grossly, no? So if you see this type of patient in your clinic, what possible questions would you ask?
Ilang beses po kayo sa isang araw kumakain?
Okay, ilang beses kumakain? Ano pa?
Masakit pa tiyan nyo kasi possible po na baka may bulate sa tiyan.
Okay, so those are symptoms. So apart from the symptoms, what else would you like to ask apart from ilang beses kumakain?
Ano pong ginagawa ng mga magulang ninyo?
Anong ginagawa mga
Ay, sorry, ano pong trabaho ng mga
Okay,
magulang
anong
ninyo?
trabaho ng magulang? Why would it matter to know the occupation of the parents?
I think yes po kasi for example, if yung occupation po ng parents parang medyo hazardous or like, for example po mga basurero or so medyo baka ma-affect din po yung health nila.
Mm-hmm.
Possible?
Okay, pwede. Ano pang pwedeng itanong bukod dun sa mga inaitanong mo na, tanong natin susunod. Share hands. Any additional questions that you would like to ask?
I guess yung education po.
Education nino?
Ay, mga children po.
Mm-hmm. Kung nag-aaral na sila. Oh, what else? What is more important to know?
Immunizations po.
Mm-hmm. Pwede. Kung tinanong ni Gray Milu kung anong trabaho ng magulang, anong pwedeng pang itanong tungkol sa magulang?
Yung source of income po.
Occupation. Yun na yung natanong niya, no? Occupation. Siyempre, related to occupation, education. Diba?
Medical resources.
Diba? Okay, so marami kang pwedeng itanong, no? Marami ka talagang pwedeng itanong. Ako, pag nakita ko to sa clinic, ang una kong itatanong, nasa ng magulang niya. Ina-assume niyo ba na kasama magulang niyo itong tatlong batang to?
Excuse me po.
Ina-assume niyo ba na kasama nila yung magulang nila? Ilan
No.
sila sa pwede rin? No. Okay. So, kasi sa clinic, sa Holy Spirit, very common tong ganitong scenario. Okay? So, pagka nakita mo yung ganyang pasyente, ang una mong tatanungin, nasan yung magulang? Kasi sila yung i-interviewin mo, di ba? So, there are instances na hindi magulang ang kasama. Tulad ditong tatlong batang ito. Hindi magulang ang kasama, lola. Okay? So, nakakomplicate pala na yung problema mo. Kasi lola ang kasama, hindi yung magulang. So, yes, there seems to be malnutrition. And when you talk of malnutrition, it's lack of nutrition. So, may hypothesis ka na. Bakit kaya nagkaroon ng malnutrition? What area of family function is lacking or defective? Kadukoy Stephen.
Yung economic.
Alright, economics. The fact na they seem to be poor, no? So you can also hypothesize that the source of income is not good. Yes, it is. Kasi yung mga magulang nila, yung isa stay-in contractual construction worker, and the other one is also stay-in house helper. Kaya ang nag-aalaga ngayon, yung lola. Okay? So, ibig sabihin may problema sa economics, and therefore, pag may problema sa economics, anong consequence, anong affected na area of function? Ha, Stephen?
Yung una po biologic po sa food and then education na din.
Alright, sanga-sanga na siya, di ba? So, if you are the attending physician now, how are you going to address the problem of these 3 children? Would you be able to provide food or would you provide money? Andrea.
For me, Doc, para ma-address po siguro yung issue, first po, of course, kausapin po yung parents. Since ang kasama po nila, sabi niyo po is yung grandmother nila.
Truly. So, ang una mong gagawin talaga is kausapin ng magulang. Di ba? Tot sabi mo dun sa lola, Mami, Lola, pwede po ba sa susunod, sama niyo yung kahit man lang si nanay para makausap natin kasi mababa ang timbang. Okay, so kakausapin mo magulang. Ano sasabihin mo sa magulang bukod sa health education? A main problem is economics. What can you do with the lack of finances? Ha, Andrea? Ala.
Siguro po, Doc, I'm not sure, pero siguro, kasi po, sa picture parang napansin ko, parang halos magkakasing edad rin po yung mga anak. So, possible po na, like, turuan po ng family planning po yung parents para hindi po sila anak ng anak. Kasi ang naapektuhan po is yung mga bata, hindi naman po yung magulang.
Actually, stunted sila eh. Those are signs of malnutrition, no? Stunted growth. Okay? What I'm driving at is, once you have identified the functions that are affected, like economics, which you cannot do something about in terms of giving them the necessary finances. We cannot do that eh. But we can refer our patient. We can refer our patient to tap extra familiar resources like NGOs and GOs that can probably help them. So in terms of capacity building, livelihood programs probably, right? So if they would satisfy the criteria for peace, pwede rin. Okay? So, to network, you should network. As a social mobilizer and as a manager, you should be able to identify resources that can help your index case. Kasi paano kung wala sila talagang pambilin masyado ng pagkain? So, ganyan na lang sila. Diba? So, you can refer also patients to nutrition program which are available in the community. So, dapat malawak yung kaalaman mo para mas matulungan mo yung pasyente mo. Okay? So that's how we apply the knowledge of family functions in practice. May purpose ka for knowing the function because that would identify exactly the major factor that you need to address. Okay? Now look at this. What difference can you see? How would it affect the caregiving? Can I call on Gail Cruz? Mm. Ano yung nakikita mo? Mm. So in terms of caregiving, would there be a difference? Okay. May support, no? May emotional and physical support. Siguro may financial support din yan. So, hindi masyado mag-worry yung pasyente mo. Feeling love siya, no? Magkakaroon siya ng energy to recover. Eh, kung ito, mag-isa na lang siya. Although, ngumingiti pa naman siya, no? Kaya lang, parang kawawa naman ako, di ba? So, it can probably affect the healing process if the patient would feel sad or would feel depressed. So what type of family can this be and what type of family would this be? Support. Okay, sabi ni Andrea. Anong klaseng family kaya ito? What type of family can this be? Vargas Luis Philip? Do you have any idea kung anong type of family ito?
Hmm. Closely related po. Ay, parang, dito. Hmm.
Sila. Very typical of Filipino families, no?
Opo.
Ano yan? Extended, sabi ni Stephen. Naunahan ka ni Stephen. O extended ito. Yan ang advantage ng extended. What about this? Ano sa tingin mo ito? Anong klaseng family kaya ang meron ganitong magiging problema? In case there's an index patient in the family. Louis.
Busy po yung family. Not present.
Busy. So, busy. So, ano yung family na yon na kung busy na sila, wala na makakapag-alaga? Single parent, sabi ni Roy Marion. Yes, pwede. Mas mahirap yan kasi single lang siya, no? Pwede, maski yung nuclear, ganun din na magiging problem niya. Kasi nuclear, wala kang others or significant others to rely on. Okay? So, what can be the disadvantage of a nuclear family or single parent can be an advantage for the extended family or vice versa. So, I'm now going to the topic of types of families. No? So, bakit natin kailangang malaman yung types of families? Hindi naman tayo psychologists or sociologists. May implication pa rin kasi to the kind of care that we give to our patient. So, for nuclear family, these are members of the nuclear family that consists of parents and their still dependent children, ordinarily occupying a separate dwelling not shared with members of the family of origin or orientation of their spouse. So it is a typical case of economically independent, subsisting in the first instance from the occupational earnings of the husband and the father. So dealing with nuclear family is not much of a hassle in terms of finances, no? Kasi sila lang. So more or less contained yung resources. Most of the time, parents are working. Children are raised in a more stable parenting. So, stable din yung caregiving mo. Consistent. There is enough time for communication and health, emphasis on health and education. Pero may weakness din kung nuclear family. There can be exclusion of the extended family that can lead to isolation and stress. Yung sila lang, wala silang ka-interact. They may struggle with conflict resolution. Walang mag-mediate, walang magpa-facilitate, they are on their own. And nuclear families can become too child-focused, resulting in self-centered children and families neglecting other important things. Okay? But in terms of caregiving, there is not enough manpower to give physical, emotional, and financial support when the nuclear family becomes ill. Especially kung ang nagkasakit bata. Ang bata kailangan lagi ng caregiver. So kung parents nagtatrabaho, mapipilitan niyang mag-absent just to take care of the index patient. Wala kasing extra warm body to serve as caregiver. Okay, so that would be the main problem of a nuclear family as far as health is concerned. Now, the opposite is that of the extended family, wherein there are 3 generations or more living in a household either unilaterally or bilaterally. Unilateral meaning, side lang ng husband or side lang ng wife ang kasama sa bahay. Pero pangkaraniwan, lalo sa Pilipinas, pareho meron. As far as the Philippines is concerned, bilaterally extended. Okay, so what is the strength of an extended family? Social support, as what we have seen, no? More family around to help with chores, childcare, and in cases of emergencies. Emphasis on the respect and care for the elderly are important. However, if the extended family members, are not a good support, then they can be a source of burden, no? Like financial issues can occur if parents are supporting several other adults and children without any extra income. Okay? Failure to launch, no? Lahat nandun. Walang ginagawa sa buhay. So, naging burden sila instead of support. And there can be lack of privacy depending on the living environment of the family. Okay? So, maganda yung extended, pero you need to contend with the lack of privacy kung sakaling kulang ang space. And you need to look into source of burdens as well if they are not financially capable to support themselves. Okay? So, usong-uso to sa Pilipino, lalo na ngayon nag-pandemic. Ang daming kulang ang resources. So, ang family, really, they extend help to one another. Okay, kaya lang you need to take care of the person who's earning for the rest of the family members, because if he gets sick, how would the family survive? Kung yung nag-iisa nagtatrabaho, nagkasakit pa, no? Ganun yung usual na kwento ng mga call center agents, no? Marami sa call center agents because it's easy to get into the call center business. Many of them did not finish their college education. Pwede ka kasing ma-employ even if you are an undergrad. Okay? Basta mag-train ka lang. Okay? And they have good pay, especially if they are in a graveyard shift. And when you try to talk to them, you would realize that most of them are the financial provider. Okay? So, tinitiis nila yung graveyard shift, tinitiis nila yung puyat, kasi sa kanila nakasandal yung buong pamilya, including married siblings and their children. Okay? I have one patient who has uncontrolled hypertension. Hindi makontrol-control because the source of stress the stressors are still there. Sabi ko, if you are not going to address those stressors, it would be very difficult to control your hypertension. Hindi naman siya pwede mag-resign from graveyard shift. Wala siyang ipapakain sa pamilya niya. So sabi ko, you have to talk with your family. Hindi pwede ang ginagawa mo. Mamamatay ka sa ginagawa mo. You have to deal with your family. Okay? So that's the problem with extended family. The next one is single parent. Common din to ngayon, no? Common dito sa practice. Consists of only one parent with one or more children, an arrangement resulting from divorce, separation, abandonment, death, adoption, never married parent, or one parent is working away from the family. This is the OFW family. Okay, very common ito in practice. So kung ano yung problema ng single parent ay ng nuclear, ganun din ng single parent. More so because there's only one parent working for the family. May advantage ba? Meron din naman. Okay? Family members can become very close. They learn to share household duties. They become more responsible. And the children, because of their setup, no, because of the circumstances probably of being a single parent, children and parents can become very resilient. What can be the weakness? Families struggle to get by on one income. Some are on social assistance. It can be difficult for parents to work full-time and still afford quality child care. Parenting can be inconsistent, especially if kids go back and forth between parents. Yes. Mayroong magaling mag-co-parenting eh. Okay. May mga magaling mag-co-parenting. Meron namang talaga needs improvement in co-parenting. Kawawa yung kids. Alright? But I would like to hammer down on this social assistance. Because I just heard from the news before our class that there is a bill now pending the signature now of the President increasing the benefits for single parent. Meron tayong tinatawag na Single Parent Welfare Act. There is already an existing one, but they have improved on this. Hindi halos, konti lang ang nakakaalam na may ganong Single Parent Welfare Act. It is meant to benefit the single parent, would you believe? Yung mga single parent namin sa community, nakaka-avail sila because we have a social worker on board in the community. So yung mga identified patients namin needing help and their structure is single parent, we refer it to her. We refer it to the social service. And then the social service would prepare all the documents, and that they would she would then refer the family to the DSWD. Okay, so 18, ang cutoff before is 18, ngayon ginawa ng 21. Okay, mga single parents na mga 18 years old hanggang 21 years old, tutulungan na sila. Okay, may education, may food subsidy, may livelihood program where they can be referred to for ano tawag dito, capacity enhancement, no? They would also be given health insurance, no, yung PhilHealth, ganyan. So maganda, at saka may monthly stipend. Okay? Ano lang ang pwedeng maging downside of that Single Parent Welfare Act? What do you think would be the possible social repercussion of that Welfare Act? Any thoughts? Fontanilla, Jewel, Denise? Would there be a repercussion for when we fully implement the Single Parent Welfare Act?
I think po pwede pong disadvantage po niya is like possible po na maging dependent po yung single parent po dun sa mga subsidies po na binibigay from the government.
Okay. At tulad lang ng mga subsidy nitong pandemic, di ba? Ano lang yan, ganito lang. Kasi single parent but takot namin baka it would encourage people to be single parent, you know. Kasi di pa alam yan ng mga tao. Kami, alam ko lang yan kasi nga may social worker kami. Sabi niya, doktora, pwede na po nating refer ito. Ha? Anong i-refer mo yan? Para saan? Doon ko nga narinig yung Single Parent Welfare Act. Even before this Welfare Act was enacted, meron na yan before pa. So, alam ko na yan. Pero silent lang kami, maski yung social worker silent din lang. Kasi it might encourage people. And, you know, ang lakas ng loob maging single parent. Kasi meron namang ayuda makukuha from the government. Yun yung pwedeng maging downside nung bill if it becomes into a law. Okay, you can read about it. You can refer your relatives or your families or friends probably na may problemang sa pagiging single parent. Okay? So apart from single parent, we have number 4, step families, or what we call as blended family. The married men and women living in common household with children from previous marriages. No? The new family also may produce offspring of its own. The media commonly refers to this form of family as yours, mine, and ours. May ganyang pelikula dati, no? Yours, mine, and ours. Okay, so you would have somehow a picture that this is magulo, no? Magulo na family blended. Okay? Pero may strength pa rin siya. Children get the benefit of having two parents around. The children and their siblings or step-parents can form strong bonds. And the benefit of having two incomes compared to a single-parent family. So the numbers can be a strength, but it can also be a weakness. Right? Adjustment can be difficult for parents and children, especially if they come from different spouses before. Parents can run into problems trying to discipline each other's kids, and they may lack the discipline or be inconsistent. But many of our celebrities do have this type of family. At nakakatuwa naman sila, they have survived the weaknesses of their family structure. They seem to have adapted well to the situation. Another one is the nuclear family dyad. So this is the childless type of family, meaning childless husband and wife or two empty nesters whose children have grown and left home. No, yung mga lolo't lola na sila na lang, empty nesters sila. O yung mga husband and wife na hindi magkaanak, yan, childless couple naman sila. Okay? So be careful with the issue of being childless because it can generate a lot of negative emotions. May strength ba tong family dyad? Meron pa rin, no? They typically they have more disposable income because there are no dependents to take care of, no? They have more freedom to travel, go on adventures, pursue different careers. Couples get to spend more time together. So, may couple na purposely they would not like to have children. Okay? So, anong weakness? Couples can feel isolated or left out when all their friends' families start having kids. Yes? So, if you like kids, you can feel like something is missing. Infertility can force a family to be childless, which can be hard for couples. Sabi ko nga, they may be, yes, it may be a choice for them, no? But for some people, by force of circumstance, childless sila. So do not force the issue of having children. Be sensitive enough, no? Yes, who raised his hand? Fontanilla ba?
Fargas po daw.
Oh, Fargas, yes.
Just to share po, yung tito ko po, ay ninong, yung kapatid po ng mother ko. Has the same family type. Though, ang problem is hindi nga po sila magkaanak. So, ang problema, pag umuwi po ng province, laging tanong ng mga elderly or yung mga uy, hindi pa kayo kailan kayo magkakaanak, yung gano'n. It's very, very negative po. Kaya parang masakit pag naririnig nila. Tas sobrang negative yung
embarrassing, no? Sama nakaka-embarrass kasi. Diba?
Tas very, siyempre, sa province naman po, di naman, kumbaga, di naman nila minimin na makasakit, pero dahil nga, kumbaga, hindi ko alam kung insensitive yung proper term.
Oo. Truly. Ewan ko kasi traditionally, people expect that you should have children, eh. Di ba? But unconsciously, they are putting a lot of pressure on the couple. And it can be a source of mental health problem. Ma-depress yung mga yun. Mabuti nga coping, eh. Pero if you keep on mentioning it, napapahiya sila, eh. Especially on the part of the guy. masakit yun sa kanilang ego. So, please don't push the issue. If you notice, kung alam niyo yung kay si Heart Evangelista ba yun? Natatawa ako sa sagot niya kasi lately, netizens are asking about why she doesn't have kids with Cheese Escudero. Sabi niya, bakit niyo pinoproblema? Ako nga, di ko pinoproblema. This is my uterus. Yeah, so, she has a very good attitude about it. She does not want people to, stress her out. Don't mind me. I'm busy with my, I'm happy with my life. That's what she's saying. I don't need children to be happy. Parang ganon. Okay? So, please be sensitive to these couples. Kawawa naman sila. Intentionally or unintentionally, you don't have to probe if they seem to be okay naman. So another type of family is the grandparent family. In the past, I did not include this. But I have found a literature that specifically talk about this. So I think maganda kasi nakikita ko in practice. A grandparent family is when one or more grandparent is raising their grandchild or grandchildren. This situation happens when the parents aren't around to take care of their kids or are incapable of properly taking care of their kids. For example, the parents might be in jail, too young, on drugs, or unfortunately just do not care. Okay. So maraming ganito in practice. Ang nag-aalaga yung grandparents na. For single parent, it's usually the case that either of the parent needs to work somewhere else. So ang naiiwan yung isa to take care of the family. In this particular case, dalawa yung wala. Okay? So the grandparents now, or the parents of the parents, step in now to act as surrogate parents. Kaya siya grandparent family. So medyo mahirap to kasi as grandparent, you also have medical problems. Okay? May strength ba? Meron pa rin naman kasi closer ties between the grandchildren and the grandparents. Okay? Instead of them being placed in a foster home or in orphanage, maganda na yung grandparents yung nag-aalaga. Kaya lang, depending on their health, it may be difficult for them to keep up with young children or discipline them as they get older. No? Grandparents may not work or have full-time jobs and they may struggle with income. Ito yung nakakaawa. Marimar, di ba kayo nakakanood sa social media yung mga kwento ng mga matatanda, may naalaga ang mga apo, and yet may sakit din siya, wala siyang kapasidad to earn, nakakahabag. No? Yan yung mga kwentong pang wish ko lang. Yan. Grandparents family yan. Okay. As much as possible, sana, the parents should be capable enough to take care of their kids. Unfortunately, if they're not able to, the grandparents should step in and take on the responsibility. Another type of family is kin network, nuclear households or unmarried members living in close geographical proximity and operating within a reciprocal system of exchange of goods and services. Ito, kung sa Filipino setting, ito yung mga compound. No? Mahilig tayong ganyan, isang compound, villa, ganito. Pagpasok mo, different houses, different families, but there are exchange of goods and services. Okay, so alam mo sa isang compound na yan, isang pamilya yan. Magkakaibang bahay na isang mga apelyido o whatever. Pwede magkaiba pero lahat sila related. Compound. Okay? In our community, kasi urban poor, the type of network that you would see there is not a compound kasi there's not enough space. Many of them are squatters anyway. So what they have is one house and they divided it into rooms, and for each room there is one family member, one family that occupies that particular room. Okay, very common yan sa community setting. Isang bahay na partitioned into different rooms, occupied by one nuclear family, each room. Now, yung mga mayayaman naman, like a friend of mine, no? Meron akong kaibigan. Isang building naman, bawat floor naman, isang isang anak na may pamilya bawat floor ng building. Kumpleto. One floor for each child. So that's a kin network family. Okay? Living together. Okay? Institutional family, these are children in orphanages, residential schools, or correctional institutions. These type of families would have special needs. Okay? And in terms of medical management, medyo mahirap because when we get the medical history, you cannot get enough information, especially on the part of the family history. Okay? So you will have a chance to deal with this type of family because in 4th years, one of the activity is population-based community program. So we have also network with Boys Town. Sa Boys Town, hindi siya lang pang boys. May Boys Town, may girls din doon. Boy and girls dun sa town na yun. Okay? So, one group of clerks assigned to children, one group of clerks assigned to adolescent, one group of clerks assigned to elderly. So, population-based action program. Okay? So, what they usually do is to do medical assessment of this institutionalized patient. Okay? Then, after doing the medical assessment, come up with a plan. And if they have identified a particular disease to be treated, then we need to submit that. We submit that to the SWD so that they can provide the necessary medications for the patient. In terms of wellness, we provide immunization, we provide nutrition counseling, we provide health education, and so on and so forth to these institutionalized patients. No? So, iba pa rin yung community action programs ninyo na nasa community. Sa community naman, they have hypertensive club, diabetic club. No? Apart from the, a bigger community action program. So, may mini, may max na action programs. So, just so that you would know that you will get exposed to this type of families in the near future when you become clerks, hopefully in 3 years' time. And the last one is communal and corporate families. So these are groupings of individuals which are formed for specific ideological societal purposes. An alternative lifestyle for people who feel alienated from the predominantly economically oriented society. Ayan yung mga example. I'm not so familiar with this. If we can prefer one that is Philippine-based. Itong Amish community, medyo kilala ito. If you Google, you would see this. Maraming article about Amish or Amish community. Okay, I'm trying to get hold of some that is Philippine-based. Ang medyo alam ko lang ng konti, I'm not so sure though, yung nasa ano ba yung Mount Banahaw? Yung para mga kulto-kulto dun sa Mount Banahaw, yung nagbabantay sa Mount Banahaw. I don't know if that is a good example of that of this particular communal or corporate family. Okay, so probably if they belong in one religion and they have confined themselves a particular village or subdivision, they have the same values, they have the same tradition, then probably that can be considered as communal or corporate family. All right, so we're done with the different types of families and in what way would it affect health of our patient, in what way would it affect our medical care to them. The next one now is where would patients seek consult? Depending on their ability, no? On their financial capability. It would also mean what, depending on their financial capability, what can they afford to buy? What services are they able to access? Right? depending on their capacity. All right? So we now turn to social class patterns. Upper, middle, lower. Since you are medical student, whether you like it or not, most of the patients that you're going to be exposed to are those from the lower class. Health Center, Rizal Medical Center, our service OPD in FEU. Many of those belong to the lower class. And very typical of the lower class is this, they see life as a continuous struggle for survival. And some of them have resigned to a life of frustration and defeat. If you are able to detect this, then probably you can help them somehow feel a little bit of hope in their heart, no? Baka masyado na lang silang na-overwhelm ng marami nilang problema. Hindi nila nakita na may pag-asa pa. Because that's what we do not want. If they have resigned to a life of frustration, they are very prone to non-compliance. They are very prone to passive behavior towards help. It's so difficult to move them into action. May magagawa pa pero nag-resign na, nag-give up na. And that's what we do not want. Okay? Parang the attitude is what will be. Kaya sera. Bahala na, no? Yung mga ganong klaseng attitude will not help us. It will not also help them. Kaya yun ang ito yung dapat niyong bantayan sa lower class. Kasi you can spell a lot of difference if you're able to detect it and be able to do something about it. Since sa middle class naman, most of us are in the middle class. Families in middle class believes in hard work, initiative, independence, responsibility, economic security, and self-improvement through education. Okay? Ang lower class din naman, given the chance, they would also like to work hard, no? Kaya lang this is the typical characteristic of those in the lower class. This is the typical characteristic of those in the middle class. Okay? And the upper class, they are much more closely knit, greater concern for maintaining family income and prestige. Wala masyado to in our center. Upper middle class. But upper, we rarely have this. However, be careful with this, no? Kasi nga, more on prestige. Sometimes they are also demanding. It is as if they own the hospital or they own you, no? So, may mga ganong klaseng behavior minsan itong mga nasa upper class. Pero the really rich, in my experience, they don't even have to insist. Ang medyo mayabang, no? Maangas, yung nandito sa middle class na nagkukunwaring upper siya. The social climbers. Mas mahirap pa silang pakisamahan. Yung talagang mayaman, tahimik lang eh. Tahimik lang sila. Okay? Well, anyway, people change, people are different, but this is the general characteristic that we have in the books. It may not be that true when it comes to real practice, but just remember that there is lower, middle, and upper class, and each of these classes would have different behaviors that may affect their health, and that also may affect the healthcare delivery. So now let's turn into the Filipino family. Ano ba? Pag sinabi mong Filipino family, what comes into your mind? Meron ba tayong identity as a Filipino family? O meron tayong identity confusion? What do you think? Can you share your thoughts? Is there really a Filipino family? Do we have that certain characteristic that we can call typical Filipino? Or masyado tayong confused as to our identity? Nasaan na ba ako? Can I call on Gatches? Maria Patricia? What do you think?
Ano, I think po, common po sa mga Filipino families, usually close-knitted po. And then, extended po, usually kasama po yung ibang relatives po, like yung grandparents po, pati yung mga tito-tita po.
Okay, so sabi dito ni Stephen, strong family ties. So tama, pareho kayo close-knit. We take care of our parents when they are old. Yes, that's true. Yun lang bang ating characteristic? Okay. So, roughly, this is the general characteristic of a Filipino family. Yes, closely knit, as I have mentioned, bilaterally extended. So, since closely knit, strong family orientation. Okay? The authority is based on seniority and age. Okay? Kaya sa atin, there is much respect for the elderly, no? Externally patriarchal, internally matriarchal. So, issues inside the household, pertaining to the household, mother decides, more of mother's decision. But issues outside of the household, all right, like it would involve the school, it would involve your going to your friend's house, it would involve your neighbors, and so on and so forth. It has to be consulted to the patriarch. So it is externally patriarchal. Okay? High value and education of children, predominantly Catholic. I don't know if this is still true. 80% of population, I don't know, no? Kasi walang census recently. Basically, we are child-centered. The average number of family member is 5. And there are environmental stresses present. Economic, political, and health problems. I think they should have included here natural disasters because we are very prone to it. Okay? So roughly these are the characteristics of a Filipino family. Probably not all would exhibit this as times change, times evolve, no? Nag-iiba rin tayo, no? Nag-evolve din tayo culturally. Pero karamihan siguro dyan somehow persists up to this point. Now, F. Landa Hocano have these postulates, 9 postulates about our characteristic as a Filipino family. Postulates are assumptions. Okay? She says that an individual most important duty and responsibility is to his close kin, and that would pertain to father, mother, siblings, and relatives. Ayan. Totoo to, kaya nga closely knit, very family-oriented. Sometimes it is good, but sometimes it's not good at all. Especially if our thinking is just to save our kin. We cannot go beyond our family relationship. So it's us. So more or less, it can affect the sense of nationhood. Hanggang dun lang tayo sa regions Ilocano, Cebuano, Bicolano. So that type of kinship, it affects solidarity, it affects thinking and acting as one. Kasi kanya-kanya Kanya-kanya. Save the family first before anything else. All members of the wider kin group are equally related to ego, and the expectations relative to their rights and obligations should, if possible, be equally distributed. So close-knit family ties, you are expected that your relationship would not favor one over the other. Dapat pareho lang. No? It says here, corollary to that. Sabi dito, individuals should not make distinctions as to closeness of relationship with either set of relatives, even if in actual practice the choice is open. Dapat you appear to be neutral. You appear to favor both. So, kinship ties should prevail over all other kinds of relationship. You see? Kaya family first, very strong. family ties. Sometimes disadvantage for us. Age is equated with wisdom and experience. Kaya nga, much of the decision making emanates from the elderly kasi they are the ones that are with wisdom and experience. Nung panahon namin, we cannot sit down with them. If they are having a conference, children, the young ones, are not expected to ano, to join the conference or the meeting of the elders. This one is very important. Reciprocity is recognized as the ideally accepted law that operates among human and superhuman beings. Yan. Reciprocity. Ano yung reciprocity na yan? Ayan yung tinatawag nating marunong o matutong lumingon sa pinanggalingan. Yan yung tinatawag nating utang na loob. Okay? We have a very strong sense of gratitude. Sabi dito, all individuals should recognize their debts of gratitude. A man must learn to look back to where he came from. Yan, marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan. Meron pa dito, sabi dito, a debt of gratitude cannot be repaid in material terms. It remains with the individual as long as he lives. Forever and ever yung utang na loob, no? Yun yung hindi maganda sa atin. Sometimes it gets into, you are forced to succumb to forms of corruption because of this utang na loob. Okay? And then, yung sinasabi nilang supernatural, tama ba yan? Superhuman, sabi kasi dito, reward and punishment may not come during one's human existence, but they are inescapable in the afterlife. Sa kabilang buhay. Okay? Also the notion of karma, no? Babalikan ka kung wala kang utang na loob, no? Yan. So we advocate modesty in speech, thought, and action. Okay? Is highly valued, this modesty in speech, thought, and action. Sincerity, courage, loyalty, politeness, and self-effacement are the highest goals individuals should strive to achieve and maintain. Remember this modesty in speech, thought, and action. Modesty. That is somehow tied up to self-effacement. Sometimes, marami sa atin kasi we are prone to have this attitude of false humility. May hiya tayong, we feel so embarrassed to talk about our accomplishment, for example. Kahit na gustong-gusto mo, no? Because there is emphasis on modesty. And to be modest, somehow, you have this self-effacement. Okay? Which is basically the opposite of other culture. Okay? Sa Americans, ito sila. Cultural norms sila. Objectivity, impersonalism, organizationalism. Whereas sa Filipino, subjectivity, personalism, familism. So, among Filipinos, you need to be sensitive. You need to be sensitive to what your patient is not saying. Kasi, very common sa atin yung we do not want other people to feel bad. Tatakot tayong sumama ang kanilang damdamin. Takot tayong makasakit ng damdamin. Yan. Kaya very subjective, personalistic, and familial. Whereas sa Americans, very straightforward. No? Very straightforward sa kanila. Sa kanila, wala lang yun. Pero sa atin, ang dating nun, personal. Okay? So, magkaiba ang cultural orientation. Kaya ang ethics for an American, mind your own business. But for Filipino, be concerned with other people. So, poles apart. So, what am I saying? You need to understand the culture of the place where you are going to work. Okay? Because that's how also your patient would behave. And the attitude, the values that they have would be coming from that place. So you need to understand them very well. That is part of your being culturally competent. You need to be culturally sensitive, especially in how you speak, on how you treat people. And some of those kasi somehow originates from their cultural orientation. Kaya kung ikaw ay Filipino and you're going to the US to work, to study, you need to understand their culture, diba? The same manner, if you are from the US and you are going to work here, to study here, you also need to understand the culture of the Filipinos. So misunderstanding can be avoided. So 7, postulate is dignity and honor must be maintained at all costs. Customary and traditional practices must be keenly observed and closely followed. A word on this, because many of our patients do still practice some traditional health beliefs. No? It's so difficult to not to practice those traditional health beliefs because the family, it's in the family custom. And if they don't practice it, magagalit si lola, magagalit si nanay, and all those things. So to avoid any form of familial conflict, they will just have to follow. Okay? Now, you need to understand their custom for you to be effective to change their behavior. Otherwise, they will just reject your attempt. So a case in point, for example, our community when we were in Moraita was in Dagat-Dagatan Navotas. Familiar with Dagat-Dagatan? It's a reclaimed area near Manila Bay. It's near Tondo. No? Doon yung Smoky Mountain. Okay, amoy mo yan pagdaan mo. No? Amoy isda, amoy basura. Okay. So, that part, nadudun yung Dagat-Dagatan Health Center. So, when we did our community diagnosis, we found out that there is a high prevalence rate for tetanus neonatorum. Because babies are delivered by traditional hilot and comadrona. So, since we are there, and we are manning the health center, we do deliver babies there for uncomplicated pregnancy. And then we network with the district hospital in Navotas for the more complicated pregnancies. Okay? So, part of our action program is a massive health education campaign for them to go to the health center and have their prenatal checkup in our health center and for us to deliver their babies. All right? We were that action program really failed. It failed. Okay, we were not able to attract them to go to the health center for prenatal. The tetanus neonatorum prevalence still high. Okay, so we reassess what are we going to do in order to address the high prevalence rate and the increasing incidence rate. Okay, so what we did, what we decided upon, since we have observed their behavior and we did some focused discussion, we came to realize that we really cannot stop the practice of going to the comadrona and the hilot. So what we did is to educate the hilot and the comadrona on proper sterilization of their not utensils, of their how do you call it, yung gamit nila, no? All those equipments that they use for delivering babies, this comadron and hilot. We taught them how to sterilize those equipments. Second, we taught them how to avoid and recognize tetanus neonatorum. So they started to refer patients for the vaccination after they have delivered the babies. Hindi sila namin dinideliver, pero nag-increase yung referral from them to us for the aftercare ng babies that were delivered in the community. So with that, we were able to decrease the census, decrease the incidence of tetanus neonatorum. Okay? Kasi ang hirap kalabanin ng customary ng traditional practices nila. So we have to address the root cause of the problem, and we were able to come up with one that became successful. Okay, and religion is the key to prosperous life. So these are some of the postulates or assumptions, no? It's not a hard and fast rule, but they are the common observations among Filipino families. Okay? So I think I'm done with the discussion. Do you have any question or any questions regarding your practice session? Because Dr. Oxon would not meet you anymore, we are supposed to be having our practice session this week, kaya lang we have not met the Friday group. So, next week na kayo mag-start. Imimit pa lang namin ang Friday class. Do you have any questions? Alam nyo na yung gagawin nyo? One thing with goal setting skills. Familiar with the goal setting skills? Active listening skills to specifically goal setting skills, because I will be one of the facilitators for next week. When you talk of goal setting skills, it's not just one sentence. Okay? Ito po yung gagawin natin. O hindi. Hindi ganun siya. Okay? When you talk of goal setting skills, you engage your patient to plan with you. The plan should be that of the patient and not your plan alone. Although as a medical expert, you should lead, right? But there are times wherein the plan may not necessarily be medical expertise. Alright? So it's okay, because if your style is you talk and talk and talk about what the patient should do, the do's and the don'ts, that's fine. But after your litany of all those do's and don'ts, make sure that you ask the patient, how do you feel about this? Which among these things that I have mentioned would you do for the next couple of weeks? You have to be specific. Okay? Kasi you need to monitor specific behavior. Kaya nga dapat short term, di ba? Realistic. So, hindi pwedeng broad do's and don'ts. So, okay lang na sabihin mo yung mga gusto mong gawin ng pasyente, pero after that, you ask the patient. Let the patient choose. Baka wala dun sa sinabi mo yung gusto niyang gawin. Okay? So, kung may gusto siyang gawin at okay naman sa tingin mo, then you negotiate. How are you going to do it? Diba? Sige, let discuss it with me. Anong gagawin mo? Okay? So that's the way to do goal setting skills. Better yet, if you will just allow the patient first to verbalize what he's going to do in life, no? Hayaan mo muna siya manggaling sa kanya. Kung magagawa niya, no? Mas maganda yung manggagaling sa kanya, and you will just supplement. So, maganda yung plano mo, that's good. Okay? But may I suggest, or probably you can consider this, because you are not dictating to your patient. Goal setting is you plan with the patient. You don't plan for the patient. You plan with the patient. Okay? That's how you do your goal setting skills. Yes? Somebody raise your hand. Yes?
Doc, so kami po yung group 1 po. So, kind of lost lang. Opo. Kind of lost lang po, like what exactly yung steps po. I know there's a handout po on Moodle yung ALS case. So are we like making it up?
You have the case scenarios, okay? That's the general outline of the cases. But as you assign each student the case, all right? So each student one case. You are responsible to developing that case scenario, meaning the details of the case. You would be responsible for doing that. Okay? Now, the details of the case is very important for you to prepare, because that's where you're going to add or to inject the skills that you are going to demonstrate. All right? Remember, you are just given 7 to 10 minutes to role play. Okay? Now, it's very important that the skills that were taught to you be demonstrated during your role play. Ang ganda nga ng ginawa mo, pero paulit-ulit lang yung skills na ginagamit mo, then your grade would still be low. Kasi, if you look at the checklist, nakalagay lahat dun yung skills done, not done yun Then, to total lang yun at the end. So, if you keep on using the same skill, paulit-ulit lang yung 1 point lang ng 1 point yun. Demonstrate mo na dati, 1 point pa rin lang yun. So, ang key dyan, when you do your script, be able to put in as much as possible all the skills that are needed for you to demonstrate. Now, why are we asking you to prepare your script? Because as you prepare your script, you are actually reviewing the skills. As you prepare your script and practice it, you are actually trying to enhance na your skills. And as you prepare your script and role play it, you are actually trying to empathize now with your case. You are trying to empathize now with the patient that you have created in mind. Okay? In the past, we tried no script. My goodness, isang oras na, dalawa pa lang estudyanteng natatapos. Kasi wala sabog. Diba? Doon pa lang siya nag-iisip ng gagawin niya. You won't be able to demonstrate all the skills. So, better make a script, kasi habang ginagawa mo yun, nagpa-practice ka na, that's basically helping you to hone your skills. So, walang masama doon kung pina-practice mo na siya. Kaya lang, when it comes to the actual presentation, make sure that in your video, if you will be asked to videotape, you're not going to read the script. You should be able to memorize it so that you can spontaneously act as a doctor or you can spontaneously act as a patient. Right? Hindi ka namin na-expect na nagbabasa ka in front. No. Ikaw gumawa ng script mo. Video pa yan. So you have the chance to repeat it over and over again if you wish. Okay? Now, you're going to be evaluated as doctor depending on the number of skills that were shown. Second, you will also be evaluated as an observer because we want to know whether you are able to identify the skills demonstrated. Because in the exam, it would be like that. There would be skills that you need to identify. So if you cannot identify it during the demonstration, something is wrong with you. Baka hindi mo naiintindihan yung skills. Alright? As a patient, you are not being graded there. But at least if you act as a patient, we hope that you would develop empathy for your patient. Maintindihan mo kung paano maging pasyente. Okay? So, you help each other as partners. Kasi hindi siya face-to-face, no? So, pag may face-to-face kasi walang video. Talagang face-to-face yan. Nag-act out kayo in front of us. Kuminsan magaling yung pasyente. May nakalimutan yung doktor, no? Parang kulang. Acting pa rin siya. That's a clue now to the doctor, student doctor, that you need to do some more kasi may kulang. So, tinutulungan mo siya kung may nakakalimutan siya, di umarte ka uli hanggang makuha niya ma-demonstrate niya yung skill. Diba? Ano lang yan? Tulungan din lang yan. Okay? So, the case scenario, you need to develop it, the details of which it depends on you. Important to incorporate there the skills that you need to demonstrate. The more the skills that you're able to demonstrate, the better. 3, don't read in front, especially if you're doing videotape. Don't read. Okay, make sure that you know it by heart so that you can act like a real doctor. All right? Anything else? Ko, Yang, Moon?
Yes,
Any
Doc.
questions? Any
So the
questions?
can we receive the PPT for this lecture, the family as a unit, because the PPT in the Moodle is a different one?
Yeah. I am not the course coordinator,
Yes,
but
but
I'm going to upload my lecture
okay.
after my lecture on Friday.
Okay po. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to ask the coordinator to update na the courses in the Moodle. Actually, if you take note of the lectures there, if you have the same faculty that would teach the topic, you can do advanced reading already. But I'm going to check as I'm not the course coordinator. I'm just going to remind Dr. Oxon. Okay? So, thank you. Sorry. Yes, Jan, Kadukoy, Stephen Jan.
clarify ko lang po yung sa cases po kasi meron pong naka-upload sa Moodle. Meron po siyang 5 cases. Bali, kung tama po yung pagkakaintindi namin, kami po yung magde-develop ng mga given cases po doon.
Yes, oo. Kasi
Pero doon po siya
naka-base. Yes?
Pero doon po siya naka-base, Doc.
Yes. Oo.
And then, i-distribute po siya sa group member. Tagi-isa po kami, ganun po.
Yes, oo. So,
Okay.
1 student per case.
Okay po.
So, no case would be repeated.
Okay po. Thank you po.
So, paano si Ko? Ko nga ba? How are you going to roleplay? Are you going to roleplay in English or in Tagalog?
I'm planning on Taglish po.
Taglish. O, so sige. So, you try to help him, those who's going to be in his group. Or you can probably join the English-speaking group. If there is none, then Taglish na lang, because the reality is when you reach clerkship, you will be dealing with patients who speak Tagalog. So you better learn how to speak Tagalog, or at least comprehend the Tagalog or the Filipino language or dialect. Okay? So, thank you for your concern, Yang Yun Ko. Sorry, some of the things that I said a while ago was in Tagalog. I forgot about you. You just remind me, okay?
Yes, Doc.
All right. So, thank you very much. I'll see you again next week. I'm not going to lecture next week. It's Dr. Roxon, but I'm going to see you for your practice session. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doc.
All right.